Hello, listeners. Jordan here. I just want to let you know that you can listen to Nighttime early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Handsome Aaron Airport, you look great tonight. Did you shave, cut your hair, wash your face, get new glasses? Anything change?
I just sat down and started talking to you, and I started to glow.
Oh, extra handsome Aaron Airport tonight. I don't want to mess around too much. I want to get into special drinks just because I got a bit of a tickle in my throat. I ate some macadamia nuts before we recorded, and that's never a good idea. I need to get into my special drink. For anyone interested, I am holding a ginger lemon kombucha, or in Cape Breton, we call them kombuchas.
Ooh, nice crack.
You got anything good over there?
Oh, man, I've got God's honey. It's called water.
Nectar of the gods.
Yeah, and it's in a glass. It's a clear glass, so I can see through into the glass where the water is. I can see the water.
So you know there's nothing weird in there, like a fish.
And I'll have a drink right now, let you know how it is. The finest tap water of Sydney Mines.
Straight out the pipe, straight from the source. Why don't we plug the recently released first episode in our Explainer series? Our intern, Matt, he has done his work here at Keep Canada Weird and the Nighttime Podcast, but as a parting gift, he left us a trilogy of episodes unveiling his deep dive into 3 specific story threads. The first one is available now on the Keep Canada Weird podcast, as well as the Nighttime Podcast's premium feed. It's a Keep Canada Weird explainer that goes back and tracks the history of egg versus egg gate. Did you listen to his report?
I did listen to his report. I thought our intern did an excellent job. Really covered the story, really brought back a lot of memories for me. I had forgotten about some of those voicemails and some of the circumstances that surrounded that controversy. So it was very interesting and a nice walk down memory lane for me. So I'm looking forward to the next installments in the Explainer series.
If you missed Egg versus Egg Gate, and even if you didn't, it is a fun trip down memory lane. But we don't have all night to reminisce about Keep Canada Weird days gone by. We're here to keep Canada weird by looking at the last week's unique, offbeat, and unusual stories that played out across Canada. And oh my God, there was a lot of stuff here. We have some interesting stories tonight because we're really looking at a couple different David versus Goliath battles. We're going to hear about battles against some of Canada's elite, the RCMP, and our military. It's been a weird week.
It's been a weird week. We're here to dive into it, surround ourselves in it, and let the weight of the weirdness carry us away into the ocean of life.
Before we get into the big battles between our military, against our military and our RCMP, I want to focus on one story that played out in Western Canada, and it's something that regular nighttime co-host Madeline Klein mentioned to me in the past, and then I just saw a story pop up about it, and I was like, we got to talk about this. Have you ever heard of like a bear spray attack? Do you know what that would be or what that is?
No. I mean, I know what bear spray is.
Of course you do, but like here on the East Coast, you know, you'll hear of like there's like a brawl and someone gets stabbed, or like, you know, you hear about stabbings a lot here on the East Coast. But in Western Canada, it's not uncommon to hear of a bear spray attack. Someone bear sprayed them all, so they evacuated. Some guy got bear sprayed and the police had to come. Madeline told me that that's something that happens regularly. I told her here in Eastern Canada, I've never heard of like a bear spray situation. Have you ever heard of one?
No, I just don't think we have the bear population that they would on the other side of the country. So
Yeah, maybe it's as simple as that.
yeah, I think it's just more people carry and own bear spray in that region. Therefore, it becomes the weapon of choice when you have no other weapons.
We could like smash people with lobster traps, I guess. That's the stereotype. I threw them up against a lighthouse. I'm just thinking what our stereotypical thing would be. But regardless,
Well, it would just be taking a scoop of ocean water with your hand and throwing it in somebody's eyes.
yeah,
The salt! Ah!
It would do it, actually. But let's get to the story. Let's head to Saskatoon, where a night out took a wild turn after a bear spray brawl broke out in front of a bar. Here's the story. Saskatoon kept it weird.
A Saskatchewan man is facing several weapons charges following a bear spray attack outside of a Saskatoon bar. It comes as police are seeing a significant uptick in bear spray incidents.
This video garnering thousands of views on social media. It shows a man attacking another man with bear spray. People in the crowd can be heard gasping. It happened outside of Hudson's Canada pub on Saturday night. CTV News spoke with a Hudson's operating partner who says he's aware of the incident and says he's proud of how staff handled the situation. Saskatoon police say no arrests were made the night of the incident, but officers found the suspect the next day when they responded to another weapons call at a different bar. An 18-year-old man from Mosquito First Nation faces a number of charges, including assault with a weapon. Bear spray incidents have been on the rise in recent years. Last year, Saskatoon police recorded 367 incidents where bear spray was the most serious weapon in a violent crime. That's more than double the number of incidents in 2022. This year so far, there have been more than 100 bear spray incidents. Police Chief Cam McBride has previously said a new bylaw or changes to an existing bylaw are being considered to curb the growing number of bear spray attacks. Saskatoon police have made a proposal to the city outlining what the service believes it needs to address bear spray attacks in an effort to avoid attacks like the one outside this bar from happening again.
First thoughts on that story is to go to a bar and think like, I'm going to bring a weapon in case I get into some trouble tonight. To have like a big aerosol can of bear spray like in your coat just seems a little clumsy. Because it not only is it the aerosol.
How big are these cans, though? Can't they come in smaller cans?
I guess, but looking at the video that they referenced garnering thousands of views outside that bar in Saskatoon, to me it looks like the guy has a big aerosol can that also has almost like a horn sort of thing on it, so it like really like projects the spray. But maybe you can get smaller ones, but I don't think it's made to be carried like a concealed weapon or something. I don't know. I don't even know what you'd use it for. Like, of course you'd use it to like get bears away, but would you take it with you when you're out camping, or would you just have it by your door in case a bear creeps up?
No, you'd take it with you in the woods. That's
so maybe it should be. Yeah, so it's probably made to be smaller then.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the can that this individual had in this one particular circumstance had it in their vehicle. Maybe they went out and got it. And I don't know. I mean, we weren't there. We don't know all the circumstances that led up to the exact moment.
I still think it's kind of like just a weird weapon. Like you can't feel like, the people who are brawling outside of the bar, I think they're full of testosterone and they want to feel big and tough and all this stuff. I just don't feel like spraying someone with bear spray is very macho.
It's not macho, but it sure would be effective.
Yeah.
So you would put an end to whatever is going on. You would have this bear spray. You'd spray it. Whatever attacker was coming at you is no longer going to be coming at you, and you didn't have to get physical with them. So in that, respect, it's a perfect weapon to use, but
defensive, like a defensive weapon. It's kind of like
a defensive weapon.
It's kind of like jujitsu, the martial art. It's like using bear spray would be the equivalent of like taking someone to the ground and getting them in a chokehold and just stopping the situation, as opposed to pulling out like a knife or a baseball bat, which is more like karate, and taking them out.
Yeah. And you don't have to have any training to use bear spray. You can just be, as long as you got a finger, you're good to go.
Well, I think that the training you would need would be more almost like similar to what a weatherman would need, because if the wind is going in the wrong direction, the use of bear spray could be pretty humiliating.
Oh, have you taken a bear spray course before?
No, I just imagine like my first thought would be, if I'm going to take this with me, I need to make sure I got my back to the wind all the time. Because if someone comes at me, the last thing I want to do is spray myself in the face with bear spray before I get my butt kicked by a bunch of guys outside a bar. Could you imagine, like, if that was the video, it'd be so much better. There's like this ratty
Yeah.
situation. He goes to spray them. The wind blows it in his face, so he's holding his eyes as they're just like kicking him.
Yeah, it's just, or they don't do anything to him. They just let him collapse from his own bear spray.
Yeah, the video is filmed from their point of view. Like that, what they do is they film the whole thing. So you see him like
Yeah.
spray, get it in his face. That instead of garnering thousands of views, that would garner 1 billion views. Everyone in the world would want to watch that video.
Absolutely, yeah. You'd be famous in a very painful way and humiliating way, but yeah, I mean, bear spray, I get it, and I think more people on that side of the country have it, and it makes sense to me. You know, I'm not supporting the use of bear spray. This could be kind of misunderstood of what I'm saying, that I'm encouraging people to do so. I'm not, but I totally understand why you would.
Yeah, I think anyone who goes to a nightclub with any kind of weapon, be it bear spray, a knife, or whatever, they shouldn't be in there anyway. But they would also, when you go in a bar, some bars, they would like do like metal detectors and stuff. That's also would be humiliating. It's like you walk through the metal detector and it's like beep beep beep. They pat you down and they're like, "What do you have?" It's just a big thing of bear spray in an aerosol can.
Yeah, yeah. But maybe that side of the country, it's not really an unusual thing.
Yeah,
So-
they're like, "Oh, another one. Throw it in the pile of bear spray." Anyway, this whole story is just our appetizer for a weird night of weird Canadian news stories from the past week. Let's put away the bear spray. Let's put it back up in our coats and save it for defensive purposes later. We'll get into our first ad break, and when we come back, we have a duo of stories involving unconventional attacks on Canadian military and police. Handsome Aaron Airport, we usually start off the show with a voicemail. I didn't this week, so let's start off this segment with a voicemail. We're going to be hearing, again, stories involving unconventional attacks where it's a David versus Goliath type story. If you recall last week, we covered a story such as this. It involved woodpeckers that were wrecking siding. You remember that?
I do, yeah.
They
A
were banging-
terrifying tale.
They were banging their faces against the siding, basically. We have a listener named Jackie who heard that story and thought for anyone affected by this type of situation, she has a solution. Jackie knows a way to prevent woodpecker attacks. Let's give her a minute.
Hello guys, this is Jackie from Washington State, just listening to 161. And with the woodpeckers, what I do out here in the northern state is I flash CDs at them. They do not like shiny things. So we can hang out CDs, or I usually go out and just flash a CD at them, and they usually go away. Thanks, love you guys.
You want to take that one?
Well, here's an issue I'm sure most homeowners would go through when trying to take Jackie's advice is they don't have CDs anymore.
Did she maybe suggest hanging some CDs out as well?
Yeah, hanging a bunch of CDs on your siding, and that
rather-
will keep the woodpeckers away.
I would rather the woodpeckers drilling the holes than...
Yeah, but it's just that nobody, like, I don't have if you ask me to find, I have some DVDs still in the house packed away, but
that you could flash.
DVDs would work. But yeah, a lot of people don't have that dinosaur technology anymore.
I enjoyed that voicemail just because I had this vision of like the woodpeckers banging on the house. So I run outside of the CD, just showing it, the CD.
I wonder if it matters what CD it is. Like if it was, a Grateful Dead CD or MC Hammer CD, like maybe certain artists would keep away the woodpeckers more.
Possibly Nickelback, I guess. That seems to be the most unappealing CD out there. But let's get to the stories here.
Yeah. All right.
Let's travel over to Bonnyville, Alberta, where just this past Saturday night, someone stole a backhoe and used it to wage war on a police station. This is a wild one. Buckle up for this roller coaster. This is about the attack on the RCMP.
This is what one RCMP police cruiser looked like after an excavator plowed through 5 of them in the Bonnyville RCMP Detachment Center parking lot shortly before 7 p.m. Saturday. Bull Mallory drove by the headquarters that evening.
We stopped and just seeing what happened, and it was just atrocious.
Investigators say the suspect stole the bulldozer from a nearby business and picked up several boulders on his way to the detachment center. He then dumped them by their headquarters, drove into 5 unoccupied police cars, and fled. Police, including a K9 unit, found the man in a nearby tree line. Mallory works across the street. He couldn't believe the news.
Something crazy, bizarre. I never thought it would ever happen in my town.
Incidents like this can be frightening for communities, but in this instance, we believe there was no threat to the public.
Bonnyville RCMP say this is not the suspect's first time interacting with police, and they say they're trying not to let Saturday's incident impact their service. 62-year-old David Mirko has been charged with 13 offenses, one of them stemming from last month.
David Mirko called the dispatch center in Saskatchewan and uttered threats to kill RCMP officers. Bonnyville RCMP was clearly the intended target of this attack.
Staff Sergeant Sarah Park says it's disheartening, citing an increase in violence against RCMP and negative social media comments that followed the attack, threatening the lives of RCMP officers.
We're not going to let this get us down, and everybody's leaning on each other for support.
Mallory says it's now the talk of the town. He hopes something like this doesn't happen again.
Thank God no one did get injured.
Kavi Malitharan, Global News.
Ooh, that's a situation. There's a lot to unpack in this one. We'll start with the RCMP address the disturbing or troubling social media commentary in comments that were made about this. I went and looked it up, and I actually saw a lot of comments in support of what this guy did. But I think that's just people trolling. You know, like.
Yeah, that's the thing about no matter what you put online, there's just going to be the trolls are the loudest, and even if they're few and far between. So it's unfortunate. It's disappointing to hear anybody publicly supporting something like this.
But I would love to know what this guy had going on, because it's obviously a beef with the police or with the RCMP, because like a month before he was calling dispatch and threatening to kill cops. Then he goes and steals, they refer to it as both a backhoe, a track hoe, and a bulldozer in the different articles that I found. When I look at the photo of the damage and what he did, to me it looks like it's an excavator that he's driving, but
that's what I thought too. The same thing.
But what it seems like what he did is he steals one, he uses it to pick up boulders and just kind of like drop them in front of the police station, and then he takes the machine over and just destroys a bunch of cars, flees, and gets arrested in the woods somewhere. I don't know. I would love to know what his beef is, not because I would want to give it any kind of like I'm sure it's whatever it is. It's something ridiculous, and I'm 99.9% sure I'd be on the police's side in this. But I would just like to know, because like to motivate you to do something that crazy. I would just like to know what makes a man break like this.
I think this man probably has a lot of issues with a lot of different professions. I think he's got a problem with the police. I think he's got a problem with his local laundromat. I think he's got a problem with the bakery down the street.
Do you think he had like anything to say about the election even, this guy?
Yeah, I think he hated both sides. I think he hated every party running. And then he started the backhoe party and asked you to join because your name is Jordan Backhoe Bus Stop Bonaparte.
And foolishly I did join, not realizing what the plan was for the party and the platform they were running on. Luckily I got out of it before it would have been just him and I down there, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, I think this is the kind of individual that finds problems where there are no problems and makes it an even bigger problem.
Yeah, and I think he probably needs some anger management, because I think if you're so mad that you steal construction equipment and trash a bunch of cars owned by someone you perceive as your enemy, you don't have a very level head.
No, but we don't know. We're just speculating right now. Certainly, every story does have two sides, they say, so it would be nice to hear his side of the story.
I have a feeling his side of the story is long and rambly.
I can guarantee his side of the story is just ah ah ah.
It's so loud,
Yeah,
his
it's just
story.
him screaming. I'm gonna kill you. I'll kill you.
Weird story, not a nice story. Let's move on to another battle, though. While this man was battling it out with the RCMP, the Department of National Defense, the Canadian military, was fighting an altogether separate battle. This one was sent to us from a listener named Heather. The story is so good, Heather sent it twice. I think she sent it right before we went to air last week, but we didn't get it in time. She emailed again to be like, "You guys got to cover this story. Do it on next week's episode." This is there. I couldn't find video of this story, so I'm hoping that either you or the newsboy can read the story of the Canadian geese that single-handedly invaded a Canadian military base.
Yeah. You want the newsboy in on this one?
Maybe just get him to do the title. I don't want to hear his voice for the next 5 minutes reading this.
Okay. Well, he's
Just see what
he's
he'll
going to have his own podcast soon, and it's going to shoot to the top of the charts. It'll be the Newsboy Cast, Joe Rogan, Keep Canada Weird,
and our entirely tire spinoff. Keep Canada Weird.
Right.
You know, we're still getting tire stories. I'm working on our mailbag episode for this month, and it's like half tire stories. I am thinking we may need to do a tire thing, but anyway, get the newsboy, passing the mic.
Oh, passing the mic. Here we go. Extra, read all about it. Canadian military warns troops, don't mess with the Cobra chickens. Department of National Defense headquarters on Carling Avenue in Ottawa is sounding the alarm, not over foreign threats or cyber attacks, but because of a recurring menace with feathers and attitude. Canada geese. As breeding season hits full throttle, the base has effectively been commandeered by these aggressive honkers, prompting an official warning to staff. Each spring, the geese settle in like they've signed a lease, turning the defense campus into their personal nesting ground. The Department of National Defense has issued a directive reminding staff to keep calm, don't panic, and whatever you do, don't turn your back on one. Maintain eye contact, back away slowly, and if the goose charges or hisses, raise your arms to appear larger. The instructions read. It's less military drill, more live action wildlife documentary. Those are the exact same suggestions with coyotes.
A lot of animals. It's just, a
lot of animals. Yeah. It's straight up just animal behavior. But these just aren't any geese. They're Cobra chickens. The nickname, which is found fame online, perfectly describes their terrifying nesting posture. They coil up on their nests, and if disturbed, quickly stand up, launch their beak, spread their wings, and hiss.
So just stop there for a sec. It seems like they call this type of geese Cobra chickens because when they're nesting, like a cobra snake, they kind of just like get themselves in almost like a little ball, but I guess it's made like their defensive technique is they just quickly jump up, spring their neck out, so it's just like a bullet shooting at you, and they hiss. I think of geese as honking, not hissing.
Yeah, it'd be very intimidating, I would say.
I think so too, but anyway, keep going.
The Carling campus sits along Ottawa's Green Belt, a favorite nesting zone for migrating wildlife. And since the geese are a protected species, once they've nested, there's no relocating them. We hear about this all the time with stories that we talk about.
It is such a problem.
Yeah, every problem animal is not allowed to be moved because they're endangered. So for now, the best strategy is respect and distance. In the turf war between the Canadian military and Cobra chickens, the birds are definitely winning.
So that's a good one. That's the long and short of it is just like you said, these are a protected species, migratory birds. So wherever they nest, that is not your land anymore. And it's interesting here that they decided to land on a major Canadian military base. And it seems like all the soldiers are simply being warned to, if they come at you, raise your arms and, act
scream.
tough. And the amount of stories involving not being able to relocate them. We've had several stories involving bats that I recall, some recently, some in the past. Many
The woodpeckers
were the
last
same, week,
right?
and the bats last week. You remember last week we had the school that was shut down.
That's right, the bats, yeah.
We had the woodpeckers that you had to just allow to eat your siding. We now have a military base in Ottawa. You know, you and I have been talking for a long time on this show about the animal uprising and our belief, not so much our belief, the trend we are seeing in Canadian culture that seems to suggest animals are trying to reclaim their natural spot on this planet. I don't know. Like for a while, I'm like, are we serious? Like, is this actually happening? Or are we just looking too deep into this? I don't know. Lately, it kind of sounds like it's happening. They're shutting down schools in New Brunswick. They're shutting down they're invading a military base in Ottawa. I feel like the animals have likely infiltrated our decision and policymakers to make it so that we can't even do anything about it. It's not an animal uprising. They're just like they're flipping a switch very slowly.
Yeah, if invading a military base isn't a sign that the animal uprising is already underway, it's not even just in planning phase. It is literally has begun. This is the sign. This is it. They're going to the military first, and then they're going to start branching out from there. So, game over, folks. If you haven't dug your bunkers, it's too late. If you haven't submitted to the animal overlords like I have years ago, it is too late for you. It is done for you. You have nothing to look forward to. Your future is over.
And I think the timing of this is pretty interesting as well, and it's quite deliberate. They're attacking a military base right now, right after our election. And the reason why I think now is important is because the military can't defend themselves because the policymakers saw to it that it is against the law to do something about these migrating birds finding nests. So the solution to the animal uprising would have been a political one. Had this happened before the election, the Liberals or the Conservatives would have changed their campaign to be like, we're going to get rid of the rules that prevent us from defending ourselves against the threat of animals. That party would have gotten power. The military would have been able to defend itself. They waited till the right time to do it. Our hands are tied behind our backs at this point. We're done.
Here we are.
And here we are. We're not in a good place. With this dark segment behind us, let's take our final ad break of the night because I want to get refreshed, rejuvenated, and get into this next segment because we're going out with a really good one tonight. I think this is going to be our first Keep Canada Weird segment, specifically focused on beauty and romance. Put on your eyeshadow, handsome Aaron Airport. We need you looking your best for this one.
You told me at the top of this show that I already looked my best, and now that's not good enough for you?
Handsome Aaron Airport, this first story involving beauty and romance, I do not want you to laugh at. I don't know what made me pull this into the Keep Canada Weird universe, but something about this news story, I couldn't look away from it. I've watched it several times. I don't know what it is about it. I kind of chuckled and giggled. I kind of felt just like it was just a weird thing to see on the news, and I can't tell why. Let's meet a Nova Scotia teen whose runway dreams took him all the way to the Paris Fashion Week. Here's the story of Nova Scotia's next top model.
My name's Ethan Horton. I'm 16. I'm model with Solely Management. I'm from Colebrook, Nova Scotia. I just went on a trip to Europe where we went to London, Paris, and Milan for Paris Fashion Week, and I got to walk for 2 different designers down there. It was just a really great experience. One of the main things that was really nice down there was just to see all the different fashion, like how different people dress down there and stuff. But when we were down there, we got to walk for 2 different designers, and we went to a Photo Vogue festival, which was really cool to see. It really improved my confidence too, but it was just great to see all my other model friends and knowing that I'm comfortable around them and just a bunch more experience, so I feel more confident with my walk and everything like that. Having the experience with all my friends down there, like everyone I model with, that was the best thing about it, just connecting with everyone.
What is it about that I find funny?
You really found it funnier than I did. I thought, oh, that's great. Great opportunity for a young model from Nova Scotia to go and do. And
There's nothing like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was the music or just the idea of like going all the way, like going from small town Nova Scotia across the world to model at 16 years old. It just seems like maybe it's jealousy. I don't know.
it is jealousy. I think you have a problem with the industry, maybe the modeling industry. Is that it?
Maybe like to say like I walked for a few designers and it was a great experience.
Yeah, like you don't take the art form seriously.
I don't think I do. No, I don't think I will say I don't. I don't.
Yeah, I feel let's get to the bottom of this. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's your opinion. You're allowed to. Do you consider it modeling a skill?
I don't think either. No. I feel like you're just born with it, right? Like you just like you're born like looking good and everything, so be it.
But there is a certain, to be able to present as a model, to be good at it.
Yeah. And that's kind of he
There
did
is-
talk about that, like going down there and walking for the different designers allowed him to like get better confidence. So he would, do it better. Because I saw in some of the videos, it shows him kind of walking around and it was a little awkward, but maybe that's just because he's 16 and he doesn't have that confidence yet.
Yeah, still growing into his body, still a little gangly, that kind of happens at that age.
Mm-hmm.
You're not quite catching your stride yet. So I wish this young model all the best. And
yes, the 16-year-old to get that opportunity, that's great. He's definitely a handsome guy, so good for him. How did the news find out about this?
I'm sure he called the news and said, "Do you know who I'm walking for?"
Yeah, I'm going to be like coming home soon from like I was in Europe for a fashion thing. And they're like, well, we'll do a story on it.
Well, we've covered stories that were far more, I don't know what the word would be, but we always wonder, why did they cover this?
It would have far less public interest.
Yeah, and what relevance is this to anybody?
I guess this what makes this a good story for the news to share is that it's a young person in Nova Scotia who's managed to do something on the international stage slightly.
Yeah,
because he it's not like he like performed or whatever, right? It looked like he just kind of went there to kind of see it, I think.
Yeah, and he got to involve himself a little bit because he walked for a few people, he said. So I'm sure he got some constructive feedback and we'll be able to take that opportunity and use it as a springboard to the next opportunity.
Okay.
And I want you to apologize to him right now.
Ethan Horn, I have nothing to apologize for. I have an issue with just like modeling. I think of the movie Zoolander. That's what it is. That's why I find this funny. Zoolander is one of like my favorite comedy movies. And maybe that made me kind of have a bit of a disrespect for male models.
That's one of the worst apologies I've ever heard.
Ethan, I got nothing against you. I hope you rise to the top of this whole thing and you take the modeling world by storm and show them what Colebrook, Nova Scotia can do.
Yeah, Ethan, haters are going to hate. You're going to overpower all that. And you're going to show people like Jordan why we should all respect your industry.
Let's get to the main course of our beauty and romance section. Can you take a guess why this is the beauty and romance section?
Well, if I dare dream, I think we're heading into a Keep Canada romantic segment, are we?
Yeah. So far, we're batting 0%. We've yet to find a match for any of our Keep Canada romantic contestants.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight may be the night. We have a listener named Maria who shared a tire story. I believe it was on the Entirely Tires episode. But Maria's not here tonight to tell us another story about tires. She's here for something altogether different. Maria is hoping to keep Canada romantic and maybe find love with someone out there. Here's Maria's Keep Canada romantic profile.
Hey guys, this is Maria from Ontario. I don't know if you remember me, but I was one of the people that called in regarding a tire story. This time I'm calling regarding Keep Canada Romantic. I'm 49, I am a widow, and I love to go for hikes and anything nature related with my dog Grayson. I enjoy painting, playing music. I am looking for a guy that is no older than 55 and who does enjoy nature and is handy and knows how to change a tire. I am open to somebody that does not live in Ontario, even though I do prefer that. And yeah, love your show as always, and I'll hopefully hear from you soon.
Well, I hope she does hear from us. If anyone out there heard that profile and thinks, you know what, I'm under 55, maybe I'm in Ontario, maybe I'm not, it doesn't really seem to be a deal breaker for her. But this sounds like my kind of person. I would love to be handy and help Maria around her place, change her tires, go for long walks in the forest with her. That's the kind of person she's looking for. If you're out there, send an email to nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll see what I can do about hooking you up.
Yeah, I thought I was checking all her boxes for a little while there until she mentioned the being handy stuff and changing tires and all that kind of stuff. You know, that's where I started to fall off because I love nature. I love hiking. I love being outdoors and I love dogs. And so, yeah, there was on the edge of my seat there for a while, but, yeah,
Sorry,
I can't
Maria.
help you in any other department of your life. So.
Yeah, she sounds like a great person. I also enjoyed her. She had a little, like a subtle accent that I found charming as well. And I'm sure someone out there heard that, and maybe that was what first turned them on to the potential for a future with Maria. Let's see if she's the person we're able to keep Canada romantic with our success story. We'll find out.
Yeah, I really hope can you imagine if we get a match on Keep Canada Romantic? How special that would be?
We will. We're going to keep doing it until we find a match.
We're going to do it, and we're going to have to stage a match. It's going to have to boil down to us just, forcing two people together.
Yeah, someone's going to have to take one for the team if we don't find a match soon.
Yeah, we're just going to put all the names of all the people who submitted profiles into a hat and just pull them out of the hat. And the two we pull out will be matched together and they'll have no choice.
DJ, you're moving to the States. Zach's your husband.
Yeah. Yeah. Good luck.
We're not going to go out on a Keep Canada Romantic profile. We usually... This is the weirdest show. We usually go out on senior citizen
It's
stories.
been looking that way recently, yeah.
I feel like I'm almost captured here, because I feel like I have no control over what this show does. But yeah, we do usually go out on senior citizens eating ice cream stories. That's what we're doing. That's what we're going to do tonight. We have a listener named Anna. She had a story about senior citizens eating ice cream, and what better way to end the show by giving her the microphone. Here it comes.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. This is Anna from Kansas City. I just wanted to comment on Jordan's love of senior citizens eating ice cream. It is kind of odd, but speaking from experience, my dad, who is in his 80s, who recently passed away, loved his ice cream. Anytime there was a sale on ice cream, he would always be bringing home ice cream no matter what weird flavor it was, and it would be gone within a day or two. My favorite thing about senior citizens is just sitting around with them and them telling their stories and about their travels. I know my dad, he was a huge shutterbug. So we have a lot of his the old things that you could just put into like a projector to watch. We have a lot of those. So yeah, I just wanted to drop in, follow up, and hopefully get a nice swag pack. You guys are awesome.
Well, in there, she was talking about slides.
Do you think Anna was only in that voicemail for the swag pack to get her badge?
Oh, no question. No question. She has one on the way.
Yeah, because it's really came out. She's like, really hope I get that swag pack, I I feel like she made up her senior citizen story just to get her badge.
No, I think it was sincere. I think she expressed for one, she pointed the finger at me for being obsessed with senior citizens. I didn't start this. It was Stacy from Dartmouth, I believe, started this by talking about working at the ice cream shop.
But you started the obsession with watching the elderly do stuff.
That's true. And I guess Anna there on the voicemail was saying, I also like watching them do stuff, but not so much watch them do stuff. She likes to talk to them about their life and their travels. Like her father, who was the shutterbug, and he had all those things what are they that you put in a projector?
Yeah, her elderly fetish is just interacting with them more, where you have a fetish of watching them from a distance just do regular, normal things. And eating ice cream is one of those things. But I did notice, would you say in that sticker that that's hard ice cream or soft ice cream?
For people who aren't watching our Zoom video chat between Aaron and I right now, I'm holding up a new piece of Keep Canada Weird swag. Anna's going to have one sent to her by mail, and it's a sticker that I had commissioned by Matt, the intern, that shows two senior citizens happily eating ice cream together, and it is very clearly what they would call hard serve ice cream. Regardless, if your voicemails aired on the show, send an email to me at nighttimepodcast@gmail.com. Let me know what episode it was in. Give me your mailing address, and I will have a hot pink swag pack sent to you by mail that will have your Keep Canada Weird correspondent badge, a sticker showing two old people eating ice cream, and who knows what other treats we'll throw in there.
Yeah. You never know what mystery treats you might find in a swag pack, but melted ice cream would be a great unexpected surprise in a swag pack.
You never know, but I think we've done a lot here. We've had our weird news stories. We've entertained listeners with stories of seniors. We gave it another shot at keeping Canada romantic. Is there anything left for us to do tonight?
There's nothing left to do other than to continue to submit to the animal overlords and hope for the best.
And again, I'll remind listeners on the Keep Canada Weird feed, as well as the Nighttime Podcast's premium feed, you can hear the Keep Canada Weird explainer on Egg versus Eggate. Next week is going to be an episode called The Many Trials of Handsome Aaron Airport, and that's going to look back at the time that you almost left the show. We're going to have a special drinks episode that's in the wings as well. And then we got to get April's mailbag. We're a little bit behind on that. We got a lot to do. We got to get to work. Let's wrap this up.
It's a busy, busy month, so let's wrap this up and start working on next week's episode immediately after this.
Handsome Aaron Airport. Until next time.
Jordan, bus stop, backhoe, Bonaparte. Until next time.
Your Handsome Aaron Airport. I have a newfound appreciation for male modeling. I think you should give it a chance, and I will support you.
And Jordan, until next time, no, I'm not crying. I've just been viciously sprayed with bear spray, and it wasn't that bad.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. If you got a news story from your area that you'd like to share with us, or have any thoughts or theories or opinions on anything we discussed tonight, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact us by using the voice recorder that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And on that topic, I want to give a big thank you to this episode's correspondents. If your voice message was aired tonight, you can email me your address. My email is nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll get a Keep Canada Weird badge and swag pack sent out to you. I just ask that you wear the badge proudly and responsibly. Next, a big thanks goes out to Aaron for another great night, you, Nicole, for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data for the outro version of O Canada. And then, of course, a sincere and massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening. Your support makes this show possible. And if you'd like to support the show even more, please consider a subscription to the premium feed, which can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/subscribe. The premium feed costs just a couple dollars a month, but that money will fund the creation of new episodes of the show, and it'll give you those episodes 2 days early, ad-free, and access to a back catalog of episodes. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by sharing this episode on social media. That helps a lot too, and it's free. Your support is very much appreciated. So with all that said, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and together, let's keep Canada weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.